All right, so in case you're confused, I'm Shawna, and this would be my twin, actually.
We are
Mick.
twins.
We are
actually
twins. So I get to teach you the creative process. You know, I get to talk about the fun stuff, but none of the fun stuff can happen without Mick. And so I'm going to talk in the beginning. He's going to talk a few minutes in.
Exactly, so I'll let you have at it.
So I will get started. So thank you for coming. And you'll see some books. And we put them at the front because we don't want to take them home because they made our suitcases very heavy. And we wanted you closer up. So if you don't have a set of books, grab them. Mick's going to talk about why we have those books here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about online businesses. How many people either currently have something going on online? Oh, awesome, quite a few of you. How many people aspire to move online in some way, shape, or form? Excellent, you're in the right place. So online, I've been online since late 2009, and things have changed dramatically since that time. There's been price erosion. Market expectations are so much different now. There's market saturation. You scroll through Instagram, everybody is a coach. There's message fatigue. Everybody is trying to sell or teach the same thing. And so you really have to decide what your offer is going to be and make it unique, different, big and bold. You have to think about your offer in terms of it's got to be easy to understand and easily shareable. In fact, if your mom or your grandma can't understand what your idea is, then it's probably a little bit too complicated and you need to, bring it down. You want to be diving deep into a niche. You want to be polarizing your crowd so that you are not, like you can't be all things to everybody because then you turn out to be nothing to no one. So you want to dive deep into your niche. You want to know what your customer's problem is, and you want to be the solution. In fact, if you can describe their problem better than they can, you are going to be their guru. So you have to meet the customers where they are, and if you can use the words that they use in describing their problem when you're coming up with the solution for their problem, again, they are going to know, like, and trust you right away. And we're going to be talking about the know, like, trust factor, and I'm going to give you some ideas on how to develop that. So before we're going to talk about your customer, your avatar, we need to really talk about you. We want to decide who you are and what's special about you. Obviously, we are all unique snowflakes, but you have to decide something that you're going to offer that's not a Me Too program, product, coaching program. It has to be something that's unique. Basically, you want to look what's out there, and you want to build a better mousetrap. You want to find the holes in other people's programs so that you can meet the needs of the customers that you want to reach. Think about why would anyone want to work with you as opposed to all the other gurus out there. And this is not meant to discount your talent or your ability to help your customer, but you just really want to set yourself apart because that's what your customer is going to be looking for. You have to find a way to stand out in a crowd, and it's a very noisy environment out there. In whatever you're doing, you always have to have a consistent message and call to action. So CTA means call to action, so that you're not confusing your tribe, the amount of the people that you're trying to reach. So basically, if, for example, my book there, How to Lose Your Menopause Belly, I talk mostly to people 40 and 50 about menopause and overcoming menopausal symptoms and getting fit over 40, over 50. So if all of a sudden I started talking about gardening or, I always have to be having a call to action for that one topic. Think about how you want to serve your customer, How do you want to deliver your product or service? There's lots of ways in the online world of how you can do this. You can be starting with a tripwire or a low barrier offer. Backing that up, you might even be having some sort of free offer where you're building your online email list. Moving that forward, you could be doing some kind of digital offer like an ebook, which is different than the hard copy book that's on the table there. You might be doing follow-along videos. That could be exercise related, that could be cooking related, that could be gardening, that could be building a shed related, any kind of follow-along videos. This is the thing, when I first started, follow-along videos were not a thing. But now there's such expectations that people want, the more done for you you can make anything, the more marketable it's going to be. Then there's hard products, supplements like this book, training equipment. There's also things like education, coaching, membership portals. So think about the ideas that you might have floating around in your head. Does anybody have an idea already of how you would like to serve your customers? Anybody now have that, an idea yet? Not so many. Some people already have a business, but you don't have an idea. Come on, help me. All right. Okay, so some people have an idea of the service, the product or service that you'd like to offer, but generally you want to ascend them. So oftentimes, you're going to start with something free or something low barrier, and then you want to move them up, into a higher priced program. For example, when I first started, I started with, like in 2009, it was really just a PDF ebook with exercises. And then as that progressed, it moved into digital, more digital programming, but it turned into all follow-along videos. But that's actually not enough anymore as far as I'm concerned, because there's a lot of free offers. People are doing that for free, so yes, I'm still selling those digital programs. My most successful one would be My Bikini Belly, and that's just 15-minute follow-along videos, and the tech behind that, the filming of that, is so much more than when I first started. So everything has escalated. The cost of doing your program has escalated a little bit, but your price point for selling has not matched that. So when we talk about online marketing, online programming, we want to be able to help you find a way to make money without not making the same mistakes. Like what I did in 2010, 2012, 2015, where I did really well, those things aren't working. They're a little bit, older school. So if you've got this great idea to do follow-along videos or exercise videos, yes, that can work, but we probably want to massage that a little bit, because nothing is working like it was or what you may see out there. Even when you see like the Instagram follow-along videos, ads for that, it takes a lot. You have to have a lot of customers that are buying at $15 to be building a business, and to be buying those ads, to be selling those digital programs. It's not what you might think. So I don't want to discourage you and say, hey, no, you can't do it. Yes, you can, but this is what I'm talking about, building the better mousetrap. So think about what your highest level of service might be, because you want to start them with, you want to meet your customer where they're at. They have to get in with you with a free offer or a low barrier offer, but you don't want to just sell a $10 offer. You want to be able to work with that customer, because guess what? If your customer typically doesn't pay, they don't play. And we're a group of people that are about results. So I'm not happy, and this is one of the reasons why I pivoted my business, is because I have over 50,000 customers that have paid $15 or more, because there's the original offer and then there's these upsells. So maybe they've paid $15 to $75, but they still, lots of them have gotten results, but not the results that I want to see with them. I really want to help these people. And so I need to get more money from them, because when they invest in me, they invest in themselves. So think about not just the beginning offer of what you might want to, how you might want to help someone, but open up your mind in terms of, well, what would that look like so that I could do a deep dive and really help them more? And then the more you help, then the more that helps you as well. So for me, it's coaching. There could be a high-ticket physical item like fitness equipment, or it might be an event that you're going to run. As I said, for my experience, I started with digital programming, and then I realized I'm not helping these people enough. I need to hold their hand more. So then I built a membership program. So then it was a little bit higher price point than the digital program. I could help them a little bit more, but it's like I'm still not helping them enough. So we went from digital program, large group kind of membership, coaching, then drilling that down, raising the price, but providing more service to a smaller group, and then more individualized programming, so that you could be asking, and everyone in this room, I'm sure you have the knowledge in terms of training, in terms of how you're going to help Mr. or Mrs. Jones, in terms of coaching them. You just need the means to get in front of them. But we're all worthy of that higher ticket. And when I'm talking higher ticket, I'm talking, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $1,500, $3,000, $5,000 a month for coaching. And people need that. And like I said, if they don't pay, they don't play a lot of times. So think about how you might be able to take that small idea, not small idea, but that low barrier offer, and expand it a little bit. So growing the know, like, trust factor is really important, so that people will follow you, and then eventually fall into your funnel of, because if they're not following you, if they're not in your funnel, you can't help them. So I realize I have to speed up a little bit here. So social selling is something really that's really changed a lot. From when I first started, it was a lot of email marketing, a lot of affiliate marketing, which has changed dramatically. So lately, my biggest thing is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the social medias, and you can, all the social media platforms, and you basically become, build your celebrity through those platforms. You don't need thousands of people. It's obviously helpful, but if you had 1,000 people, if you had 500 people, but they really liked you, that's a great platform for you to start your coaching or your online business. So you really need to be believable. You need to entertain. In fact, you just have to be a little bit of a, entertainment. You have to provide that entertainment value. You want to be everywhere to your customers. And so a lot of people ask me, like, how are you in all the places? So I'm going to just give you a quick snippet of how you can spin your content so that you don't spend all your time doing videos and pictures and postings. And so basically what I've learned to do is I'll take one Instagram post, I'll turn that into a Facebook post, I'll take that idea and I'll do an IG Live on that. I might simultaneously do a Facebook Live at the same time. If that video was not turned out pretty well, I will put that on YouTube, directly on YouTube, or I'll just shoot that video again. By the way, IG Live has to be 10 minutes or less. I'll put it into YouTube. I'll take that YouTube video. I'll make a blog post out of it. I'll take the write-up that I did on Facebook and Instagram, and I'll just turn that into a blog post. I'll go to Canva. I'll make a Pinterest image. Then I'll pin that blog post onto Pinterest. I'll take my blog post, the raw video, or any one of those things, put it onto LinkedIn. I'll take the content from the original IG post, and then I'll email that out to my list. And then if I get good response from that, I'll spin it again with maybe a different headline. So there's so many ways that you take one idea and then you spin that. And this can work for a brick and mortar business as well, because I also have a Fit Body Bootcamp, so I do the same thing for brick and mortar. So you don't have to be limited. Like, lots of you already have brick and mortar, so this might be something that that you can do with your brick and mortar as well. So you don't have to spend all your life creating content. Then what you want to do is pay attention to the comments you get, to the DMs you get, to the private messages that you get, and then you be the solution. Because if you're here and it's like, I'm not really sure I want to be online, but I don't really know what I want to do, start putting stuff out there and hear what you get back. And that's probably going to be a good hint as to, how your customer views you. So then you can be the solution. Remember that while social media is excellent, it can go away at any time. So you want to move them to email or get their email as quickly as you can. So I won't ever have all my social media platforms email, but I try as much as I can. Whenever somebody DMs me, I say, hey, can I send you this via email? And then I get them on my email list because, like I said, social media can disappear. And then you want to be, showing up as well in their email box, in their inbox as well with content. So email, you may have heard email marketing is dead. It is not. It has just changed. So getting into somebody's inbox, with great content also positions you as that expert so that people will know, like, and trust you. Just as if you are emailing them, and this again goes for the brick and mortar and the online, is that you don't want to just email people when you have something to sell. You want to be emailing them a couple times a week, and you want to have some content-based emails. So not always, pitching your program or trying to sell something. Give your reader a reason to open up your email. So you want to have some content-focused posts and emails, and I always have a soft call to action because you never know what's going to resonate with your reader. So there's always a call to action, something to click, because you also want to train your readers to click something, because they don't sign up if they don't know how to click a hyperlink. So you're always going to put that hyperlink in. The other thing is that there's nothing, it really bothers me. I do a lot of coaching with people building programs, and I like it when they're open-minded rather than coming to me with a fully developed program, because there's nothing worse than having a fully developed program that nobody wants. So a lot of times what I do with my clients is I'll get them to build their program as they're going. So they actually get paid to develop the program. How many people are interested in doing some sort of coaching? I think that's a fairly common one. But you know what? You can be coaching a client, and it's such an education when you're coaching that client, because you might have built a program and, I never even thought of that, if you're doing it in hindsight. But you can be coaching a client and then quantifying that process and rinsing and repeating that en masse later, but using a beta group to build your program, and you can be using that to develop a program that's going to be a higher quality and higher value to your customer. So you really don't want to wait to be helping your customers. I notice that a lot of coaches out there will be asking you to, like, the creative process is the fun stuff. I'm gonna build this program, and I'm gonna include this, and making the program is the fun part, but then selling it is the hard part. So what I like to do is to kind of sell it as we go, so that it's kind of like building the car and while you're driving the car, because you cannot sell a program that nobody wants. But if you're creating that program with your customers as you go, then you know that you'll have success because you're working with those people as you go. So that's the big point about, especially about online programming, is that you want to really be in touch with that customer so that you know what's going to resonate with them. So, like I said, my part of the presentation is really about, the creative process, which is the fun part of things. But that fun doesn't happen unless you have the nuts and bolts, the mechanic behind the fun, right? So Mick's going to talk a little bit about, how you're going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be back in a few minutes.
So,
all right?
Yeah. So Shawna and I kind of we've been working together for quite some time, and we have a bit of a running joke, right? I'm the mechanic, I'm the grease monkey, I'm the guy that kind of comes underneath the car and works on the engine. And it's great and it's exciting to talk about strategy and all of the different things that Shawna just got done talking about, but talking about how we actually do the things, it gets a little boring. So I'm going to do everything I can do to make sure that I don't bore the living heck out of you. And I'm going to start like this. I don't know which way this goes. Oh, okay, cool. Big green button. Thank you, Austin. I appreciate that. So I'm an internet guy, and I believe cats are kind of a big deal. So we're going to do something completely different. Now, who likes cats? Yeah, all right, cool. I'm going to give you awesome cats. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Can I get a chuckle? Yeah. All right. So that's my idea of just trying to keep it not boring, right? All right, cool. So you are here, basically I'm here to talk about the tech tools, how we get underneath the engine and make these things work, all right? Briefly, the way that I see the world, the tech world, I've been doing this now since 1997, all right? I'm self-taught, so I've seen a lot of different aspects of this whole build. I do websites, we've done paid ads, we've done social media, we do all these things. But the way that I see it in 2019, where we're sitting, there's really two different components you need to worry about. There's the marketing side of things, all right, which is kind of where you get your lead ac, right, all your lead acquisition. And then there's the tech, all right? Everybody likes to talk about the marketing. The tech gets kind of weird and flashy, all right? The reason why and I'm going to kind of speed up as well because I don't have as much time as I hoped. It's okay. The reason why you have these books in front of you is because lead acquisition is pretty, I won't say it's basic, but it's pretty cool. Facebook, social media, just organic campaigns that you're getting going at any given point in time. And I'm sure everybody's fairly aware of how that goes. Then you can do paid digital ads or paid offline ads. So paid digital ads are going to be boosting posts on IG or Facebook or things like that. Paid offline ads, just a quick example inside the FAI binders, there's a lot of display advertising inside there. Obvious, right? Email is not dead, but it's used a different way. One of the reasons why I pulled this book out is this book is a really interesting way to take an offline asset and make it an online asset. And it's actually the reason why you have it in front of you. What I'd suggest you guys do is if you don't have one of these books, grab one of them or both of them, and they've got examples inside of how you can basically get people to opt into your list and get basically lead magnets directly inside of a book, all right? This is a great tool. In my world, I won't speak for Shawna, but I legitimately use my book. There's a basic level of information and knowledge that you probably want to understand before we can have a very good, solid conversation about what needs to be built inside your business. So I might say, oh, Sarah, we just had a brief conversation. Do me a favor, go to chapter 3, read these 3 pages, and then let's hop on the phone. All right, this is a really great way to do it. But again, also, if I want to be able to jog that conversation immediately right out of the gate, I can say, text this number, and you'll immediately get these worksheets, and you'll be able to kind of start that conversation in somebody's head. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah? Cool. On the other side is web digital tech. These are all the things that I'm assuming you guys are expecting me to talk about. Websites, funnels, schedulers. Schedulers would be like Calendly, allowing people to be able to book into your calendar using some type of a software interface, right? Text messaging is actually so hot right now in terms of being able to get engagement, it's not even funny. We do a lot of work in the fitness space. We work with a lot of millennials. They actually don't really enjoy email nearly as much, but they'll all hit you back with a text message. Real easy, it's great. CRM, customer relationship management, very big, and automation. But what I really want to talk about is this. Here's where I see, Shawna just got done telling you about how things are a lot different now than they used to be. And what's really annoying that I find is things change so fast online that whatever somebody's telling you is working right now probably was working a year ago for them very well, but it may not necessarily be working right now, okay? So instead of doing all that, what I would say is this, guys. Who here has an established business? All right, cool. Who here wants to take that established business and they're really interested in getting that established business online? Certainly a handful of you. Okay, and if you want to come up with something brand new, that's cool too, but check this out. I like to think about processes as much more important than systems. Processes are what actually happens here. All right? I hear a lot of coaches in this room. So what happens? At the end of the day, we want to just agitate enough of an issue with that person, get them on the phone. Anytime I talk to a coach, they're just like, just get them on the phone with me. That's all I want to do. You get them on the phone, and then one of three things is going to happen. They're either going to say yes, they're going to say no, and at that point in time, I'm just going to give them more information anyway, right? Or they are not going to show, and I'm going to need to take time to reschedule. Effectively, it's one of those three things. So systems, on the other hand, are the tools that we use to support those processes. And what I find quite a bit is that we're in this weird space in 2019 where there's a massive disconnect between our processes and our systems. Who here has ClickFunnels? Couple, cool. Who here bought ClickFunnels because somebody told them they needed to buy ClickFunnels? And they're still walking around going, well, this is cool, but I'm confused as to why this really helps me, okay? Look, ClickFunnels is a great tool. I'm not here to bash ClickFunnels. I'm not here to bash anything in particular. But the larger issue is we've got our process that we know works really well, and it's shaped like a circle, right? And then over here, we've got ClickFunnels, and it's shaped like a triangle. And the process is actually what's working. This is how we make money. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to pick this process up and jam it into a triangular space. It doesn't make sense, all right? That's where this disconnect happens. And so my whole point, if you take nothing more away from my portion of this talk, is this. Your system should serve your process. It shouldn't be the other way around. And literally, for at least the past half a dozen years or so, this is what I've seen online. I see all these really cool, flashy new tools coming out. People saying, sweet, go buy this. It's the coolest, best thing you could possibly need. And it just doesn't really help what it is that you've got going on. Once you have something that's working, let's pour gasoline on that. That's the name of the game. Is this resonating with you guys? Yeah? Cool, so let's talk process. One of my mentors, who is one of the old school guys in space, is Frank Kern. And he talks about there are 4 different types of sales processes, and only 4 as it pertains to online, all right? There's the classic process, and this is what the classic process is. I drive a 2015 Dodge Ram 1500. I love my truck. You know what? There's a little chunk of rust on it because I live in the north, and I get salty, so I don't know if I like that. I got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they're making my back seat look like, there's nothing wrong with the truck at all. I just want a new truck. That's where I'm at. I'm an ugly American, and there's a lot of people out there like that. And that's a perfectly fine sales process. There's a lot of people out there that are just like, you know what, it's not that, it doesn't matter they already had a truck. It doesn't matter that they already had a phone. It doesn't matter that they already had a yoga mat. It doesn't matter, whatever. They're gonna buy another one. So let's help them buy another one. That's a great sales process. And there's ways that we can market to that. Then there's the toe dip, all right? If you are a coach, I promise you that you run a toe dip model. And if you don't, you probably do. I run a toe dip model. Here's what this is. You are a professional. For instance, let's talk about lawyers. I need a lawyer. There's many lawyers out there. Lawyers kind of have a bad reputation, whatever. How can I actually, find the right lawyer for me? Well, what I'm going to do is I'll probably find 5 that have been recommended to me, and then I'll start making phone calls and do some type of a meeting situation so that I'm just kind of dipping my toe in the water, right? I'm just decide whether or not I like these guys. That's it. And if I like them, awesome. Then I'll do business with you. It's a fairly common coach type of a model. Then there's e-commerce. Easiest one to really identify, just think about Amazon. That's all it is. That's e-commerce, guys. We're going to put all of the products up there. We can retarget you when you start going through and you're looking for a camera, and now we're just going to start throwing retargeting ads like crazy. It's just a different model. And then there's the funnel. Funnel is the one that's really hot. Everybody's been talking about it for a really long time. Everybody thinks they need a funnel. I've got news, folks. No, not everybody needs a funnel. It doesn't really matter. Funnels are great if what you're looking to do is direct marketing on one very specific thing, and then you want to say, oh, you're about to buy this one thing? Great, no problem. Do you want this also? Cool, here you go. Oh, and since you bought that, there's this other thing over here that pairs very nicely with it. You might want that too. If that's your model, you need a funnel. If that's not your model, guys, you don't need a funnel. It's actually that simple. So, components of sales process. Basically, most sales process, we're going to move this fairly quickly. You've got a fishing pool, which is the group of people that you're actually marketing to. You've got your actual prospect. Then you have your interested prospect, which is, you've got your fishing pool. Then somebody says, actually, yeah, I think I'm interested. That makes them an interested prospect. You're trying to drive them to take an action, and then there's an outcome. Let's just get a lot more dialed in with this. I do have an exercise that goes along with this, but I kind of want to run this exercise right now if you guys don't mind. So would you guys do me a favor, grab a piece of paper and a pen in front of you, and what I'd like to do is, as I'm walking you through this, just take your number one sales process right now that's working inside your business. Just one, not three, one. And here's what we're going to do. For a fishing pool, For a fishing pool, okay, great. So let's say that you run Facebook ads. Well, your fishing pool will be the custom audience that you create for your Facebook ads. That's your pool of people, all right? So you put your ad out there. Now, once somebody actually opts in, all right, at that point in time, they're a prospect, all right? Typically, in a coaching model, oftentimes what we'll want to do is we'll have some type of a landing page. They'll opt in, and now we know that they're a prospect. What we actually want them to do is schedule a call. All right, so when they go ahead and schedule that call, that's when we're going to make them effectively be really an interested prospect. All right, if they actually make it to the call, because that's a whole different issue. We want to make sure they actually get on the call. That's the action we're looking for them to take. And then the back end of that is the outcome. All right, so in this particular instance, all of these fishing pools, a Facebook ads, trade show, a referral, effectively, we're really just trying to get them to set up some type of an in-person meeting. So really, again, the point here would be to set up a phone call and then decide what's going to happen next, all right? Because whatever happens next will be the same across the board. If they don't show up, you're going to need to go through the same steps to get them back on the phone, all right? If they want an estimate, there's a certain process that goes through to make that piece of it happen. Is this making sense here, guys? All right, cool. So now we've got this piece. Let's talk about systems. Actually, real quick, who here actually has their own pieces kind of mapped out into their process or their fishing pool piece? Good? Cool. So really what you want to do is you want to be able to take that process and turn it into something like this, all right? And really, when you look at it, it's actually siloed. It's actually siloed like so. On the far left, we've got a fishing pool. So in this instance, that fishing pool might be social. It could very well be at a trade show. It could very well be at literally any of those pieces. Once you get somebody to bite, then they're going into a prospect. In this instance, I'm just going to shoot ahead here. In this instance, our prospect is literally just somebody from that fishing pool that actually opted in to get the information we want them to get, all right? Then we're going to move them over into an interested prospect just by getting them to schedule a call. Now, one of the things you'll notice is in this prospect component is long, right? Now, I don't want my prospects to get who opt in to get every single one of these emails or contacts or SMS messages or however it is that I'm trying to coerce them to get onto a call with me. I don't want them to get all of them. I just want them to get all of them until they actually take the action that I want them to take. So in other words, in this prospect category, they're going to opt in. The thank you page of that opt-in is actually going to have the scheduler right on it so they can go ahead and they can schedule immediately, okay? If they do that, they'll never get any of the other emails. But if something happens, life happens, anything happens, and they go to, 24 hours passes and they don't schedule the call, no problem. They're going to get the email pushing them back to schedule the call. And if they schedule the call, great. Now they're moved out of the prospect phase and they're into that interested prospect phase where we're just making sure that they remember what time it was that they actually signed up to meet with us. Making sense, guys? Cool. And then that's when we start getting into the technical aspects of things where we say, cool, now we've got our actual processes that we know are working for us, all right? We've identified them, we know the buckets, we know the conversations that we'd be sending to them manually anyway. And that's, once we have that whole piece, then we can build it and actually put it into something that's a little bit more like this, which is actually inside of a CRM. This particular CRM is Entreport. There's a lot of great CRMs out there. You don't have to use Entreport, but typically this is the type of card view that you would see in that type of a situation. So again, I'm just kind of moving fairly quickly, but is this making sense to you guys? Is this helpful? Yeah? Awesome. Beautiful. All right, so now the natural question is, what now? Like, that's all great. I've given you guys a whole bunch of cool information. It's lovely, but, what now?
So the way it works for me is I'll call Mick and I'll say, Mick, I want to do this. How do I do this? And then he takes me through all this, because you might have these ideas in your head of, hey, maybe I want to write a book, or whatever your idea is. How do I get that prospect, that suspect, to become the prospect, to become the interested prospect, to become a paying customer, and then moving them through those pieces? And that's what Mick is talking about. So has anybody got any ideas generated in their head about, okay, how you'd like to move ahead? That idea, that coaching idea. Anybody inspired in terms of, where you want to go? Some ideas out there? Help me out. Anybody? I'm not going to pass the mic to you. But a lot of times what happens is you get some ideas, you go to these summits, and then it's like, oh yeah, I want to do that. And then you get home on Monday morning, and Monday hits you, and then it's like nothing happens. So if you're really interested in moving that idea from just an idea to a reality, the best thing to do is to buy speed, and that will help you save time for yourself, to get that solution into your customers' hands much sooner. And it helps you to avoid costly mistakes in terms of time and money. Does anybody recognize any of these people? Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone. These are people that I have studied from another mastermind that I'm involved in, and these people were part of what you could call is an original mastermind. And Napoleon Hill talked about them in 1937 when he referred to these gentlemen as, the original mastermind members in his Think and Grow Rich book. And basically what he says is that nobody really gets successful on their own, and it's really hard for you to take your beautiful idea and right through to fruition on that island that you're living in, when you go back to your home. A little bit about Henry Ford, Edison, and Firestone that I found really interesting is Firestone and Edison would have these weekly meetings in this parlor, and Henry Ford was a little bit younger, and he wasn't invited into the meetings. And so those two would, they'd have these big ideas, and Henry Ford would just kind of stand outside the room, and he would eventually be invited in with those big thinkers, and then we all know what Henry Ford did as well. But the fact is that they put their minds together, they held each other accountable, and that was one of the original masterminds. If we look back a little bit further, then Henry Ford, Firestone, and Edison, for those of you that believe in the Bible, then Jesus was talked about the original mastermind. We wanted to talk a little bit about the Power of Five mastermind as an opportunity for you, and I think Dan, you were going to come up and talk a little bit about, because the fact is that I know for myself, when I decided I wanted to go online, that was early 2009, I knew that I couldn't do it by myself, and so I surrounded myself with people that were already doing it and that had kind of forged the path so that I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. You're on.
I'm on. Okay. So, I think it was about a year ago, I said to these two, hey, let's get the band back together, which is a Blues Brother reference, if you didn't get that. Shawna didn't get it, and that's okay. I said, we haven't had the online mastermind in over a year, and I miss networking, I miss the connections, but I really miss the relationships more than anything. And so the Power of Five Mastermind really was the three of us coming together and saying, hey, who are the 5 best people we're putting around us to support us in our online mission, whether that's the Functional Agent Institute, whether it's Functional Health Summit, whether it's some other online business that I want to run. Who are we surrounding ourselves with on a regular basis? Or are we just operating from an island? Which in a lot of cases is how online businesses become, right? You isolate yourself. You don't really have someone to check in with or even talk to. It's even more lonely than being a business owner, right? Because it literally is like you're just operating by yourself. And so we created the Power of Five Mastermind. We had our first ever meeting just recently, which was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. So I'm going to give you a few of the details. We'll share kind of our mission statement, a video testimonial from Dorian. We like to think of ourselves as sort of the anti-mastermind mastermind. One of the things we said was we don't want to do what so many other masterminds do. Now, I run a mastermind called the Functional Agent Institute Mastermind, which is a typical mastermind. We get together, we meet for a whole day, we coach your business. It's grueling, it's hot seats. We're going to go over what you need to do, your marching orders, and then we're going to teach you the whole next day. And I said, I do not want to do that. And I think both of these guys agreed. They're like, no. The last thing we want to do is sit in a conference room like this all day long when we see the mountains right over there. We're like, why don't we do the mastermind in the mountains, right? Why don't we go do stuff? So we said the Power of Five Mastermind has to focus on relationships, creative thinking, and complete out-of-the-box adventure and experiences. We're going to teach you how to succeed versus telling you exactly what you have to do. Right? The last thing we want to do is crush your dream, your hopes, your passion by saying, nope, you got to do it this way, Lindsay. Right? And Lindsay's like, but that's not what I'm passionate about. I really want to do this. Right? And Holly says, but I really want to help people lose 100 pounds. Right? Well, I don't want to change your dream. We just want to give you the tools. Okay? Time or money will not be spent on developing a program, a website, a blog, an ebook. We're not going to tell you exactly how you need to do the busy work, except for the real hard work of selling. We're going to focus on helping you create something that sells now. Mastermind fees really go towards the event. There's no monthly fees ongoing. You don't have to pay every month when you're like, oh, gee, I'm not doing anything. You just pay for the meetings, okay? You can get more coaching if you want. Shawna is happy to do one-on-one coaching. I know she does one-on-one coaching with people. She loves coaching, so we do offer that, but that's not the goal of this mastermind. The goal is to get people together, to build relationships, to network, to build one another up. So here's what you need to know. Our next meeting is in Denver, Colorado. Hint, there's mountains nearby. Thursday, October 17th, Friday, October 18th. Our first meeting ever was in Banff, and we spent time in the mountains. We went up to the top on a gondola. People had to conquer their fear of heights. We went to Lake Louise. Some people walked across a frozen lake. I don't know if that was advisable, Mick. We saw a grizzly bear, which I think we have pictures of. Credit to my wife in the back there. 3 events per year, experience-driven. We did a speed dating session. By the time we got to lunch, everyone knew each other and knew why they were there and knew their big why, as opposed to a typical meeting where you might leave 2 days later and you're like, man, I never met Summer, and I came here because I wanted to meet Summer. Right? How many meetings have you been to and you're like, I really want to meet that speaker, and the speaker got off stage, they left, and you never saw him. Right? That doesn't happen here. You're going to get coaching advice, and we're going to focus on speed of implementation. Doesn't do any good to spend $2,000 to go to a meeting and then not move fast. So here's Dorian. You can see we went to the top of the mountains. What do I do to get this to play, Austin? Just click? Okay.
Hi, I'm Dorian Majaperla, and I'm here at the Power of Five Mastermind. Such a thrilling couple of days with this amazing group of people. I haven't had Mastermind in my life for about 15 months now, and when Dan sent me the information, I just hopped all over it because I know these organizers of this Mastermind from other Masterminds I've been in, and Dan and Mick and Shawna are awesome, and for the first Mastermind they put together, they did an awesome job. And what I really loved about it so much was that we weren't sitting in a room all day. First of all, they got an amazing venue for us where the whole one wall was glass and you almost felt like you were outside all day, and it just gave so much more energy to the room. And then we go on these amazing outdoor adventures together, and we actually network in this beauty. So that was a really cool thing that we did, and I have learned so much that I'm going to take home. I think I've learned more in this mastermind than I have in any of the others I've ever been involved with. So if you are thinking of joining the Power of Five Mastermind, I highly recommend it, and I hope to see you again at one of the next get-togethers. Thanks, bye.
By the way, that's what you call spring in Canada. So this is Banff in May. It was a little chilly, but it was still beautiful. Andy was there, a founding member. He said, I think it was perfect. The pace helped me relax into it, experience, sightsee, and just be with all of you. Connect. I could really tell with Andy, he was present, he was enjoying it, and he was refreshed by the end of the 2 days. And I think he came in pretty stressed. He had quite a few fires to put out, I think even just on his travels in. It also let that other part of my brain relax. And though that was slightly uncomfortable, you could tell it was a little uncomfortable for him, it was way different, right? We didn't just sit in a room and just work through stuff. We actually went out and did fun stuff. So I loved getting to connect with Andy, and the people in the group just really had a great time and really bonded. I think I've got a couple pictures here, mostly compliments of Jennifer Ritchie photography there in the back again. You can see the grizzly bear there. So we did get outside quite a bit. We had breakfast and lunch together. We had dinner together. We spent a lot of time building relationships, networking, connecting, sharing ideas. And the meeting room, we were only in the mornings, right? So we got hard work done in the mornings, and then we went out and had fun, but we're still working in the afternoons. I think at this point I'm handing it back to you, am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, you can move it back one, because
Move
I
it back
want
one?
to. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about business audit here. Whether you're interested in the mastermind or not, I'd like you to grab a pen, because, like I said, everybody goes home on Monday. Oh, thank you. Everyone, you get back to your life, and you forget some of the things that you might have, thought of over the weekend. So let's just go through this a little bit. It'll help you determine, hey, where am I at, and what could I possibly be doing here? So, you know your name and email. You don't, you can do that in a little bit. But, what is your business or your business idea in terms of, where you want to go online? Jot a few thoughts down. Here's your opportunity to, really get some, crystallize what those ideas are. Do we have any music, Austin? There we go. And does this business currently exist? And if so, how long have you been in business? One of the reasons why we'd like you to fill this out is because Mick, Dan, and I would like to give you a coaching call wherever you're at. If you fill this out, provide your name, email, phone number, we'd be happy to jump on the phone with you and give you a little bit of direction, whether you're joining the mastermind or not. So give us some ideas. Obviously, you're going to pass this in to us so that we have a little background so that we can make the most of that call with you to, push you in the right direction, what your next step would be. If you have a URL currently, it could be to your brick and mortar business. If you have an online business, if you have a sales page, anything, a blog, tell us what your URL is so we can check that out. And what kind of service do you offer or would you like to offer? What price point are you selling at, or would you like to sell at? We need to have some sort of idea of where your head is at so we can kind of give you some direction in terms of what we know is what's working in the market. A lot of times we undervalue ourselves. Sometimes we overvalue ourselves because we've put our heart and soul into a program, but realistically, your heart and soul might only sell for $9 if you're just selling follow-along videos. But we would have a way to help you, give you an idea to scale that, to raise that price point. And what is your number one challenge to growing your business right now? Is it leads? Is it tech? Is it just being scattered, having that shiny ball syndrome, not knowing, what direction to move in? Is it determining who that customer is? Or is it trying to reach too many people? And have you purchased or any kind of educational products or trainings in the past related to online? What have you done, up until this point? It's helpful for us to know because then we can kind of help you move, use that information. And if you were to look back 12 months from now, what would have to happen in your life personally, professionally, for you to say, hey, this year was a success for me? What is your core value? Or your core goal, in these next 12 months? Looking back, what would you deem as a success? And in relation to your online goals, in terms of, how committed are you to getting this online business off the ground in the next 12 months on a scale of 1 to 10? So I see that lots of you have, lots written down. That will give us a good place to start from on our call. So make sure that you, have your name, your email, your phone number, and you get that into one of us so that we can kind of help you flesh out those ideas. If you know that the Power of 5 Mastermind is something that you want to get involved in, then we want to give you that opportunity. So you can flip the page. Mick's going to talk a little bit about that. If you haven't got these, answers down and want to spend, 5 or 10 more minutes diving into that, just make sure you get this to Celia because she'll get it to us so that we can reach out and contact you. Do you want to wrap up, Mick?
Yeah, but I need the clicker.
Oh, I don't think you do.
Oh, no, I don't.
I clicked it.
You did. Good call. All right, great. So here's the deal, guys. The next Power 5 Mastermind meeting is in Denver, Colorado. It's in October. If you, everybody in here is basically a fast action taker in general. You're literally here working on yourself and your business, and so you've shown that. So if you, by the end of this meeting, this weekend, if you want to fill out and make the decision to do that, we'll give you $500 off this particular event. It's just one event. If you want to go ahead and come to other additional events, we can also make that happen as well. Please do go ahead and pass in the sheets that are done so that we can definitely do a coaching call with you. And if you want to pass that in to us here or to Celia out at the registration table, we can do that as well. Just make sure it happens by the end of the summit and you're good to go. And also, if you are ready to go and you know this is for you right now, we're also going to be doing a dinner this evening, so we can literally start masterminding tonight. So this evening, I think it's what, at 7 o'clock?
7, yeah. So if you know that the mastermind is for you, if you know that you've been looking for something to take that next step, and you want to make that happen, just give us your forms, and we want to take you to dinner tonight and start talking about your idea. I also wanted to, Dan did a great job explaining what we do at the mastermind, but we do give you marching orders. But a lot of times, like I've been in masterminds since 2009, and lots of times what happens is you get this brain overload, and you don't know, your head just starts spinning. So that's why we've decided to do the mornings of teaching, and then we do the processing and the relationship building later in the afternoon, because a lot of times the business comes through the relationship building. You're able to process those creative ideas, those learning, the teachings that you hear, then you can process them to develop further. And that's why we've kind of developed the program the way we have, so that there's teaching and then there's creative time that we just get outside and get out of kind of a conference room setting. So we don't want to say, hey, we don't teach you this stuff, because we do teach quite a bit within the program, but it's really big level, like big thinking that we do in those events, because a lot of times, the processes, once you know what you're going to do, they become more clear. Make sense?
Yeah, and so the other piece of that kind of carries right along with it is that rather than do, a lot of times when you go to a mastermind, what you'll do is you'll be in a session for about an hour to an hour and a half where you're doing a very hardcore deep dive on something, right? Which is great if that's something that you're really interested in knowing about. The way that we do this is quite purposely a little bit different. We do it effectively by doing what end up being kind of like TED Talks. So we do like a 30-minute piece that we might go really deep. We had Sarah Dean, in Banff talk about podcasting, right? And we had somebody else come, and Kate came and talked about high ticket selling off of webinars. So we'll do 20 to 25 minutes of it. So at that point in time, there's a lot of ideas that come out real fast. There's no need to do the introductions and whatnot, because we've already done the speed dating, okay? So at that point in time, then it's like, okay, here's a whole bunch of information about podcasting. Maybe this is for you, maybe it's not. But regardless, you're going to have the next 5 hours with the person that just got done talking about it, and you can figure out at that point in time, pick their brain and see how it pertains directly to your business. Again, from my perspective, what drives me crazy is our gurus and experts that try to tell you that there's only one way to get something done, all right? And I can tell you from experience that's just not the case. The only one way to get something done is the way that actually is working for you and curtails into your own sales process. That's really it. So the question is great, you've heard this great thing about podcasting. You've got the sales process over here. Do these things make sense? If you see some way that they might, great, now we can start talking about it. If you're just not sure about it, then we're actually available to sit down and dig into your business model, see whether or not it's even something you should continue talking about or not. That's basically it.
Does anybody have any direct questions about their idea about an online marketing program that you want to be launching, or any technical questions, any comments? JR? Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, JR. Anybody have any questions related to, their potential business, what you would like to do online? You guys are a pretty quiet crowd. Yes.
I feel like I get pretty good engagement, I get pretty good response, and then I freak out when it comes to the delivery of, because all of my business is online. People that don't even want to talk to me on the phone, they're like, and so I spend a lot of time doing the video and doing the and stuff like that. From a marketing perspective, and I kind of feel like I'm okay. So are you guys people that we can talk to if I'm like literally like I have people that want to write me checks right now, and I have no idea what to have them pay me for?
Yes. Yes, what a happy problem you have. You have people ready to.
I think everybody does. I think it's just what I'm good at is finding people that want to play, and then I'm like, that's great, but let's like figure out where to do it.
Right, so you don't really, so are you saying you haven't really got your program developed? Yes, yes. That's what I talked about when I said, like, let's build the car. Let's not just build a program and then see if we can sell it. You've got people that want to work with you already. Let's work with those people, find out, we're not telling them that they're your guinea pigs, but they kind of are. Like, they're helping you as much as you're helping them because they're giving you feedback on the type of program. I'll tell you one thing is, I decided, I think it was on Wednesday, I thought, you know what, I'm selling my coaching for way too little. I'm going to charge $1,200 for 6 weeks. I just got it in my head, and then the next day, I got on the phone with someone, and I thought, well, I'm going to sell them this program. So I did, and then I'm like, oh my God, Mick, I don't have health questionnaires, I don't have anything. Remember that?
Yeah, I
so
do.
it's just like the next day, I'm like, oh, yeah, I was very calm, and I know that I can coach them. I know that I have what that person needed to meet their goals. I didn't have some of the tech in place, but I put the tech in place, and then it's like, okay, I know how I need to help this person. So I basically developed the program as I coach that person, and now I rinse and repeat it with others. But you just have to get it in your head of what you want to do, and then start doing it. Don't wait to get my logo and the health questionnaire. It's like, I had a fire under my behind. Like, that health questionnaire took me like an hour to do because, a lot of times we drag our feet in doing things like that, and Mrs. Jones is crying herself, Mr. or Mrs. Jones are crying themselves to sleep at night because we're not getting our program out to them. So, yes, that's what we're saying is that, that's how I'm helping a lot of my coaching clients is like, let's coach them now. Let's not build this awesome program that nobody wants. I've also made that mistake too. So, and that's no fun. To have a beautiful program and then, the marketing of it is difficult. But if you're resonating with people, it's like, let's help them now. So, any other comments or questions?
So I have online stuff in place now that I was in Dan's Mastermind 2 years ago, I think, and I was the only one looking to do online. So it was great, and I accomplished exactly what I wanted to. So I have these programs in place, but now I need to develop them more and grow it more, and that's where I'm a little stuck. I do feel like I'm on an island by myself.
Are you Holly?
I'm Holly.
Yes, yes.
And so I am loving that it's pay per,
Right.
time, because, I don't think I could do the
Year-round
every single
paying.
month right now with some other obligations I have, so I'm on all over this.
Nice.
'Cause
And
I know it will take me to the next level, and it will give me focus and direction.
right, and that's the goal. And sometimes it does take a little bit of time, and so you don't want to see your bank account drained every month. Like, you know, in some ways it kind of spurs you to action, but in the other, you know, we have them 3 times a year. So, and we have a Facebook group where we stay in touch in the meantime. And for those people that want coaching in the middle, like whether it's a call a week or a call a month, we can provide that as well. But I also have some ideas for you. Like I have digital programs now that I just give away. Like I have some great ideas of how you're going to use those digital programs to get you to the next level. Because as you know, having everything in place doesn't mean that, you know, if you build it, they will come. Some of them will come, but it's like you're not reaching and helping them to the level that you want to, right? Yeah. Any other comments, questions? You've been remarkable. I used to teach elementary school, and if only my kids were as quiet as you. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. Please, you know, if you know, we'd love to help you flesh out some ideas. Give us your forms. If you're up for, you know, the mastermind, I know Holly's sounds pretty keen. We'd love to have dinner with you tonight to, you know, start the process now of kind of getting those ideas going. Then make sure that we have your forms so that we can give you the information about dinner. And thank you so much for coming. Have an awesome event.